Hiranna kalja potokurshi himoto. Hirannaya tokurani kimaya takalyatata. Mohotaya vishitanya kalyamota hashikata. Hirokomati haryamukode. Ishtaya mukupala karanda krusha hyarata. Awakening to our divine selves, awakening to our true selves, awakening to the divinity within us that is the calling of our peace, that is the calling of our truth, that is the calling of our joy. We find that when we are inside of ourselves, when we are inside that dwelling place that knows God, that knows peace, that knows love, and that knows truth, we find that everything that we want is already there, just arriving, right? Arriving inside of us, becoming us, knowing us, seeing us, feeling us and experiencing us. So the things that we are wanting, the things that we are receiving, the things that we are doing, the things that we are giving, everything that we're wanting, it's already there inside of our being. It's already there inside of that dwelling place within us that knows God's consciousness, that knows bliss, that knows truth, that knows peace, and that knows love. We sometimes feel that this awkwardness that we're experiencing in the world carries out in our actions, carries out in the things that we're doing. And what does it mean? When we have an awkwardness in the world, when we have an awkwardness in the way we're doing things, when we have an awkwardness in our experience in the world, what does that mean? Are we coming into the world in a way that is deceiving our true beingness? Are we coming into the world in a way that is deceiving what we truly want, what we truly need, what we truly feel we should be experiencing? Are we deceiving ourselves in some way? So is there an awkwardness in the way we walk in the world? Is there an awkwardness in the way we present ourselves to society? Is there an awkwardness in the way that we think we should be around other people, around other things, around other beings? Is the awkwardness presenting itself because there's something within us that wants to be seen, that wants to be heard, that wants to be felt, and that wants to be known? The awkwardness that we're presenting to the world is only an awkwardness of gracelessness because we've forgotten our true grace within our true beings. So the grace within us that speaks to us, the grace within us that is us, the grace within us that wants to be walking in the world as us in a divine understanding of truth with all things, that grace needs to be seen, that grace needs to be heard, that grace needs to be experienced, and that grace needs to be felt. The grace within us that is experiencing us as us wants to be seen in the world, wants to be heard in the world, wants to be felt in the world, and wants to be experienced in the world. Where is your grace? Where is your truth? Where is your beingness? And where is your love? Where is your grace? Where is your truth? Where is your beingness? And where is your love? If you go deep inside of yourself and find that grace within you that wants to be seen, heard, felt, and understood in the world around you, then the awkwardness is no longer present. The awkwardness recedes and allows us to become who we truly are, who we truly came here to be. I am a divine being of light. I am a divine being of consciousness, and I am a divine being of grace. My heart opens up to the expansion of joy that is within me every day, every moment, every second. My heart opens up to the expansion of grace that becomes me as me in the world around me. I seek for nothing in the world because the world is merely my play of consciousness, right? I seek for nothing in the world because the world is merely my play of consciousness. The grace within me is what precedes me. The grace within me is what sees me. The grace within me is what feels me, knows me, and experiences me. So I accept myself as a divine being of graceful consciousness in this universal play. I accept myself as a divine being of graceful consciousness in the world as we're seeking for things that we're wanting around us in everyday reality. We consciously are aware that the grace within us is the truth of all things. We consciously are aware that the grace within us will seek us as us in the divinity of all things around us. We know that God's grace rests within us as us. We know that the truth of our own beings is the truth of all things, and we are seeing that beingness within our being now. So seek for that beingness within your being now. Seek for that beingness within your being now, because in that beingness is the seeking of all things that ever were and ever will be. We seek for God's consciousness within our own being. We seek for God's truth within our own being. We seek for the consciousness, the dwelling place, the seeking, the knowing. That conscious place within us is the conscious place that wants to be seen, heard, felt, right? And everything that we're doing. Where is the consciousness around you? Where is the consciousness around you as you walk through the world, as you seek for consciousness in another being, in another thing, in another experience? Where is the consciousness around you? Is the consciousness outside of you? What is the consciousness around you? What is the dwelling place of love around you? What is that place of peace that you are seeking from something else or someone else or somewhere else? What is that consciousness? What is that peace? What is that love? What is that dwelling place within your own being that is seeking these things outside of you? Because within that dwelling place in your own being that is seeking these things outside of you, you find everything that is there. You find everything that is there. Everything that is there is seeking you within you. Everything that is there is seeking you within you. Go inside. Know yourself as divine. Know yourself as true. Know yourself as conscious. Know yourself as blissful. Know yourself as peaceful. Know yourself as kind. We are kindness. We are grace. We are truth. We are peace. We are love. And the divinity within us is becoming divinity as we seek outside of us for something to complete our beingness in the world. The divinity within us is what we are seeking for in the world around us. The divinity within us is what we are looking for as we seek for something outside of us in the world. The divinity within us catches us, knows us, sees us, feels us. This is our true dwelling place of peace. Only in the peace within our being can we be seen as whole. Only in the peace within our being can we be felt as divinity in all things. Only in the peace within our own being do we know that God's grace rests within us as us. I've given myself enough time now to accept myself as peaceful, kind, loving, true, and pure. I've given myself enough time now to accept myself as peaceful, kind, loving, and pure. I've given myself enough time now to accept myself as the things that I am already. So where am I going in the world? Do I want something new? Do I want something different? Do I want to feel a new experience? Do I want to feel a new peace? Do I want to feel a new grace? Do I want the world to present itself to me in a new and different way? Do I want things to come to me secretly, privately, openly, lively? How do I want the world to present itself to me? How do I want the world to see me? How do I want to be experienced and known as I walk in this dwelling place of peace, in my own truth, in the world around me? How do I conceive of myself in the world around me? How do I conceive of myself as I communicate, as I become, as I logically place myself in the world? So can we release the old and accept the new? Can we release the old and accept the new? Can we release the old and accept the new? Releasing the old paradigm, releasing the old plays, releasing the old patterns, releasing the old ways of doing and seeing. Can we release the old and accept the new? Can we release the old and accept the new? Can we release the old and accept the new as we accept the new things that we are creating within our very own being into our experience? We know that God's grace goes with us in every moment that we are seeking, wanting, and revealing the innermost parts of our heart to the world around us. We know that God's grace walks with us. We know that God's grace is with us in every moment of every day. We know that the seeking we are doing within our own being becomes the seeking, becomes the dwelling place of our true self in the world around us as we experience grace in everything we are doing every day. Is it time? Is it time now to experience that grace in the world around us? Is it time now to experience that grace in the feeling quality of life that we are living? Is it time now to experience that grace and the feeling quality of living life on this earth plane? I now know that the life I've been living is done. I now know that the life I've been living is done. I now know that the life I've been living is conquered. We no longer see it in our reality. We no longer see it in our truth. We no longer see it in our private energy of grace within our own being. But we know that the world around us that is now being conceived by our very own being is conceiving of itself from a place deep within us that knows truth, that knows love, that knows peace, that knows joy, that knows God's grace. I accept God's grace in me now. I accept God's grace in me now. I accept God's dwelling place in me now. I accept God's feeling quality of energy, grace, peace, truth, love, the feeling quality of energy, grace, peace, truth, love, the feeling of grace within my being. How ecstatic is the graceful energy of God's peace within our being. How ecstatic is the graceful energy of God's peace within our being. The ecstasy of God's grace runs through us as us. And this ecstasy, this ecstatic quality of being and becoming, this ecstatic quality of living our life in consciousness becomes the world that we walk through. Does it make sense? This ecstatic quality of grace that we are receiving into our being right now becomes the energy in the world that we are gracefully living each and every day. The quality of life that we are wanting is received by our inner being. The quality of life that we are wanting is consciously conceived of within the being, within the consciousness, within our own being. This is the quality of life that we are receiving from God's grace. This is the quality of life that we are receiving from God's grace. Tune into that place within your being that knows God's grace as you. Tune into the place within your being that knows God's grace as you. We know God's grace as we are. We know God's grace as we see. We know God's grace as we feel. We know God's grace as that one true being that we came here to be. We know God's grace as the energy of consciousness coming through us now. What am I doing? Where am I going? How am I feeling? And what am I experiencing? So I may see that the past has not been conquered, right? I may see that the past is still accepting me as a part of it. I may see that the past is still wanting me to be in it and of it. But if I know that my life is walking in a new direction, in a new consciousness, in a new dwelling place of peace, this past must be cut from my being and no longer received into my consciousness, into my truth, and into my grace. I know that the consciousness of my being is now conceiving of a reality that creates me as the being that I have come here to be, right? I know that the consciousness within me is conceiving of me as the being that I came here to be. So the past must be said goodbye to. The past must be said, I am no longer a part of you. The past must be said, I no longer feel you, experience you, or have you in my reality, because I am now conceiving of a conscious place within myself that accepts reality as graceful, as kind, as loving, as free. We accept reality as the beingness of our true being. This true being now accepts reality as it is, in our own being, in our own consciousness, and in our own grace. We release the past and what is not seen as a part of our true reality. We release the past and what is not seen as a true part of our consciousness and of our grace. We no longer need to be of a world that does not conceive of us peacefully, gracefully, lovingly, kindly, and generously. So release it. I am no longer a part of you, this past consciousness that has presented me to the world in a way that is not seen by my light, by my truth, by my love, and by my peace. I release the past and I release the consciousness that is not allowing me to be recognized as a graceful being of divine love and light consciousness who is generously giving and receiving of everything that we are giving and receiving within the deep depths of our heart space. I consciously conceive of a world that is enlightened, peaceful, joyful, and free. I consciously conceive of a world that gives me the generosity, the peace, the love, the truth, the knowingness that is experienced by me here and now in this moment of grace, truth, love, and divinity. I conceive of this world within my being now. I conceive of this world within my being now. I conceive of the truth of my being. I conceive of the emptiness of God's grace that allows everything to be joined in freeness and companionship, in divinity and peace. I no longer want a world that does not conceive of me generously, peacefully, lovingly, kindly, gracefully, in joy. I no longer allow this world to be a part of my reality. The world that does not conceive of me in love, the world that does not conceive of me in truth, the world that does not conceive of me in grace, the world that does not conceive of me as the divine being of light that I always am, always have been, and always will be. We now release all concepts of this reality that we seem to have been dwelling in. We now release all concepts of this reality that has feared us, that has known us as different than we truly are, that has given us less than our grace, less than our truth, less than our peace, less than our divinity, and less than our joyful, loving place in reality. I am walking into a world where I conceive of grace, where I conceive of peace, where I conceive of truth, where I conceive of love, where I conceive of divine understanding in all things that I see. I am now walking into a world that allows me access to the consciousness in all things, in the dwelling place of God's peace, God's love, God's truth, and God's divine understanding. I am now walking into a world that I can become a part of from my truth, from my peace, and from my love. I am accepting God's grace into my being. I am accepting the love of consciousness into my being. I am accepting the knowingness that receives me as graciousness, as kindness, and as love. I am accepting the divinity that comes through me as me, and I now accept God's grace into my being, and I give everything that I consciously conceive of in my reality. I am generous, I am kind, I am loving, I am peaceful, I am free. I am divine. I am knowing. I am wisdom. I trust my consciousness within my being. I trust my knowingness that sees all things as three. I trust the energy of graciousness within me that conceives of nothing less than my true identity in Christ's consciousness and divinity and peace. We give of ourselves to God, we give of ourselves to the world, and we give of ourselves to all things free. I give myself now to God's grace. I give myself now to God's peace. And I give myself now to the divinity in all things. I am grace. I am peace. I am truth. I am love. I am consciously aware of everything inside of me being conceived as the world around me. I am consciously allowing that grace within me to become the grace of all things that are in my environment every single day. I now receive God's grace in everything around me. I now allow God's grace to be laid out before me like a beautiful divine rug, making its way down the path in the consciousness of the truth, of the light that sets its way for me to see all things freely, kindly, and lovingly. I accept my grace. I am free. I am free. I am free to be all that I am already, ever have been, and ever will be. Divine love surrounds us. Divine love is within us. And divine love consciously conceives of us and our reality in this moment of peace. Divine love is our truth and our peace. Meshtava korotara karayamatayata. Eshava karamatokulu kima papayatokuru. Hadi manuguru dayata kaliyapokuru shayi shava karamantu. Hanyaro korupatara karushayanuko. Ye pototata nioro korota miti harayamoto koroshai shai shapakurota mata le koromata kareyashutu hirayana kale potokari moto e botaya rokurutai shiva karamutu hai homato kurutari mo e kola e teudo shitare yamoto. I am Ma, Kurupalaya Poto, Shayatanaka, Poto, Kayamoto. Tashavakarana, Kurushaya Namaka. Kayamoto. Hirana kaliya poto kurushe emoto. Hiranaya tokurani kimaya takanya taka. Mohotaya vishitanya kaliya mota hashaka. Hirokomati hariyamukoti. Ishtaya mukupara karana.
Love is all you ever need.